my phone is always on. I never turn it off.
Okay.
Busy or not.
Well, this is Coletha Albert. I had said that I was going to call you, I think, yesterday, but got caught up. And so I was going
Yeah.
to call you today to find out. Um, First of all, let me just say this. I really don't know how it is that a person can afford to even buy a house in this market, much less, a single woman. You know what I mean? So you seem so energized that this is possible. So I wanted to find out how.
Well, I mean, there's several things. So, I mean, there's a lot of down payment assistance programs that are out there. Obviously, you have to have your credit and financials in a certain place to be able to do that.
Right.
But really, what I always tell people is, like, let's sit down, let's talk with a lender. I have several good ones on my team, and even if you're not where you can buy right now, like, come up with the game plan on how we get you there. Because a lot of people are, closer than they think. Especially with what they're paying in rent nowadays, right?
Right.
So a lot of people are often a lot closer than they think. Maybe they think they need to save more money, or maybe they think they need to pay down a credit card that actually they don't really need to do in order to be able to buy. Because when you buy a home, it's based off your debt to income ratio. So a lot of people say they have like a $5,000 credit card balance. They're like, well, I got to pay that off before I buy a house. Well, that's not necessarily the case, because as we all know, the credit cards, you charge up a credit card for $5,000, and then they say, hey, your minimum payment is $25 a month. Now, it's not smart to just pay that $25 a month, because you're gonna end up paying a lot for that $5,000 you borrowed. But the $25 a month is what really counts against you in your debt to income ratio when going to purchase a house.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not smart to pay off your credit card, when maybe there's something else that you should be working on to get yourself ready. So really, what I like to do is connect them with my very knowledgeable lenders who are familiar with the programs that are out there and things like that, and then sort of like use that application and sort of as a stepping stone to say, hey, either we're ready now, or maybe we're 6 months out, maybe we're a year out. Let's come up with a game plan to get us where we need to be. These are the things we need to work on. Just like if you were going to college, you don't go to college for a doctorate and not know which prereqs to take, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to plan out, right, to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of the same thing with buying a house.
Well, see, you're now saying what I'm trying to get to, which is everybody can't buy a house, right? And you're in Kirkland, I'm in Tukwila. These houses are incredibly expensive, and all of the single women that I know who have a house here, they bought in the 70s. These ladies are much older now, and many of them can't even pay the taxes. The house is paid off. They can't even pay the taxes on their own, because the taxes are so high here. So what I'm trying to get to is that the realistic expectation for a single woman to be able to buy a house, she definitely needs to be making 6 figures and in a very steady, like in wealth management or something like that. She can't be working in a commission only position unless she can save up through investments. She bought Walmart stock back in the 80s or something like that. But most young people in their 20s, a young single woman who's just vested in her company 5 years, she's 27 years old, she can't realistically buy a house outright on her own right now in King County. It's just not
Well, it depends on Yeah, it depends on where in King County, but it also depends on income. And you could be a business entrepreneur and have your own business or be commission based. You just have to be able to prove what you make, and your numbers have to work out, right?
Right.
And yeah, you can buy at less than six figures as long as you've managed your other debt responsibly, or that's. So, like, I'm getting houses for people that are below six figures in King County. Maybe it's Auburn, maybe it's, South King County. And so I'm getting houses for people that are definitely under six figures. Some of them are, I would say under 80.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying, Ryan. For a single woman, that's not safe. I live in Tukwila and I'm scared to death. When I lived on the boulevard, yeah, my rent was cheaper at the time, but there were prostitutes, there was drug addicts, there was homeless people going through, jimming the car door to see if they could, so you get what you pay for. As a single woman who has did the right thing, has gotten her degree, she's been with her company for 5 years. I don't think that she should have to move to Auburn or White Center or someplace where and at the time I was living with my fiance, so I didn't even move to Tukwila by myself. If I had been a single woman and was not engaged, I never would have moved to Tukwila. Never.
Yeah.
Because it's not safe for a woman, by herself, So even with the money and ADT, which I did that, I got ADT, and even right now in Tukwila, I live in a secure building and all of that, but it's still creepy.
Yeah, definitely, and like you shouldn't have to, but there's nothing. I mean, I'm my hands are hands to the kid, and I can move you to areas and say, hey, this is where the houses in your price point of where you're approved at, where the single income is, and I can show you those options. But I can't do anything about there not being affordable housing in the area that you want to be. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I think, that when a person is looking to buy a home, they have to look at all of those types of things realistically. And for women, safety and security, if you're a woman alone, that's so important. And not to mention, historically, even gay women couples, like I read where this guy went into a window in White Center and killed a woman and her girlfriend. It's just you have to look at safety. Even though the price may be right, you're going to pay in other ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my experience. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. I have, not in King County, but I have a organization that I actually help them find houses. I don't help them with their buyers because they don't use an agent for that. But they are a nonprofit organization that helps with lower income buyers and to help them get into homes, and they offer sometimes up to $60,000 or $80,000 of down payment assistance. So if you're only approved for, say, a $200,000 house, you can buy a $260,000 or $280,000 house with their down payment assistance, and you don't make any payments for mortgage. You only pay on what you're approved on. And they have programs. It's part of that is to help help low income families get established in their first home. And to sort of better the community and keep slumlords from buying those houses and renting them out, and keep the community sort of, like, because these slumlords will just allow, they'll buy the house, they won't really maintain it, they'll charge outrageous rent or rent, and just let the sort of the community decay. And so what they do is they have low income families get into these houses, and there's a requirement that you stay in the home for 10 years. But you're getting $60,000 or $80,000 of assistance to help first home.
Okay, so what
those are in Pierce County.
That's in Pierce County.
Those are in King County. So I don't know about the programs in King County at this. I know this organization because my mom has worked there for years, and they've done a lot of good work in the Hilltop community and Lakewood, and now they're expanding into deep into Pierce County, the Stanaway area, Parkland areas. So that's a really good program for lower income.
What's the name of her agency?
Home Ownership Center of Tacoma.
Okay. Home Ownership Center of Tacoma.
Yes, I believe their website is like hcthomes.org.
Okay. All right. I'm just.
And they do all sorts of. They actually help you. They teach classes. It's a nonprofit organization, so they're not making money off of you guys buying homes to them. They're just trying to help the community, right? So, and they offer a lot of resources, classes to come take and learn about home ownership, learn about like maintaining your credit. They do all sorts of different things. So.
It sounds good. I'm just what's in my mind, is I'm trying to look at it from as a single woman, and most of the people that I'm going to share this information with is single women, and a lot of the households that that I know of and everything are ran by women, and they're not business owners. They work and they are raising families, so it's not just safety for them, but also safety for their children, the school districts, the crime. All of those things are factors. So, and realistically, it's nothing that you can do about it. Like here in Tukwila, it's mostly single women here. That's who the majority of the population is, and so.
The single women that you were talking about earlier that have problems paying their property taxes, they need to be very careful with that because it can, when you get enough liens on your home could be foreclosed on.
Right.
So if they're in a situation where they need to, I'm definitely willing to help people get out of those situations, and we can sell their home, and then hopefully if the house is paid off, because the market, they're going to walk away with a good chunk of money in this market, and then maybe they can get themselves somewhere where they can, maybe have some more affordable taxes or money in their pocket for a while where they can, pay off a property and then have money set aside to handle the property tax bills every year. You know what I mean?
They're not doing that. These ladies that I've spoken to, they're in West Seattle, that both bought their homes in the 70s and stuff. So these are really good homes. The homes in Tukwila are not that fabulous. Okay, I'm just gonna say it like that.
No, I understand.
But
I'm saying all of those homes are going to sell for a lot of money right now.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether in their Tukwila is still, even in the areas, you can't find a home in Tukwila for under $400,000.
I know. So this
and if you do find it, it's not in any condition to live in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is what a lot of the ladies are doing. They are combining resources. So like for me, I'm a single woman, and so I would bring to the table my resources and then also combine resources with two other single women that are, my age, and we would go in to buy a house together.
Yeah.
Because it just seems to be impossible to do it the other way, and even with the low income family situation, I think it's the fact that it's low income family, so that's like a couple with small children or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, I'm an older person. My kid is grown and married, and I don't want to be bothered with other folks' kids. I don't want to be around, if they had a place now where it was like adults only and this type of thing, a gated community, that's my thing. Okay.
Well, and they have those. They have 55 plus communities, and actually the homes are affordable in the 55 plus communities. And you can't have, you can have like visitors and things to come visit you, but you can't have like a permanent resident, like children and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they have those, and there's actually nice homes in those that are very, very affordable.
Well, let's talk about those. Let's talk about those, because the other one, oh my God. That was
go
ahead.
A lot of times I'll see a house pop up that I'm like, man, this is a really good value. Why is this house priced so low? And then I see it and I'm like, oh, that's a 55 plus community. That's why. Mm-hmm. Because, and the reason why the homes are lower is because the demand, because there's restrictions on the home being 55 and over, you have less buyers, right? So there's not as much demand and competition for those homes. That's why the prices are more affordable. Because a normal house in this market, there's a ton of buyers that you might get 10 offers on the house and then it goes over what you asked for it. But in 55 and over community, you don't have all of those buyers. You don't have all those young buyers that are trying to get into their first home. You don't have that because it's restricted. And so, in a lot of cases, they can be more affordable. Whereas the house may be $350,000, it's now $250,000 or $260,000, right? So, you do see those. They're obviously not as there's not as many of them out there as regular homes, just because it has to be in one of these communities. But those are options. But you still have to go through the normal pre-approval process, all of that with the lender. You have to be approved for the amount that the house is going to cost. All of that, just like normal. But then you would just be purchasing in a 55 and over community, which could save you some money and have some restrictions. Usually they're usually safer communities, even if they are in a different city that's not like the safe city, but usually that sort of like every city has pockets, right? Good neighborhoods, that sort of things like that. Usually 55 and over communities are sort of like, at least within its own community, like a pretty safe and lower crime place than maybe the rest of the city.
Right. And you can tell a lot easier when someone doesn't live there or something.
Yeah.
So that sounds a lot better for what I'm thinking about, because like I said, it's really like two categories of women that that I'm getting information for. People like me who are older, kids are grown and gone, and they are still healthy and still living their life, and a lot of things that come with living in a regular community, they don't want to deal with it, and so a 55 plus community would be great for me and those types. And then the other set of women are younger, who are still raising their kids, still raising families. And, even they are doing it. Two single mothers buy a house together, and then that way they can babysit each other's kids. They can have a social life. There's a friend there in the house. Their kids have friends. It's, it tends to work out. They kind of look out for each other, But just as far as the old model where, like when I was young, I had friends who worked at Maxwell House in manufacturing at the Nabisco plant. And they were buying houses when they were 21, just out of high school. But back then, the houses only cost, a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, on a quarter of an acre of land, only cost like $40,000, and that was in the 80s. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah. And even for me, at the time, I was a college student. I had my own apartment. My rent was like $350, and I had a 1-bedroom with a terrace and a swimming pool and all this, walk-in closets, for $350. So, but now it's completely different, where you're paying all of this money, but you're not getting the same quality for the money that you're spending. You know what I'm saying? So what I was trying to do by calling you was trying to figure out a way where, even though the housing market is the way that it is there a way for a single person to become a homeowner? And it just doesn't seem like that's a thing of the past,
No, I mean, I sell houses to single income single people all the time. Actually, I probably sell them to single people more than I sell to married people.
So single ladies?
I have sold to several single ladies. Matter of fact, the one I just did in Puyallup was a single woman. Yeah. So not in King County, but
yeah.
But it is possible. But again, it has a lot to do with income, credit, all of those things still play a factor. You can have low income. I bought my first house when I was making not very much money, less than $40,000 a year, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that right now with minimum wage going up, people are getting closer and closer to the at least $32,000 a year. Once it hits $15 an hour, if they're working full time. So it can be possible, but you can have very, very little debt, and you have to have good credit if you make that amount of money, right? Mm-hmm. So the lower your income, you have to eliminate your debt. The higher your income, you can carry a little bit of debt and still buy, but it's based on everyone's individual situation. So some single women are going to be in a tougher position than other single women, mm-hmm. depending on their income and their debt history. Mm-hmm. So, but it is possible. So, okay. And if they are single with children, right? Like the program I was telling you about, if you could find a program like that, a single woman with say 2 children that she's raising, that goes as a household of 3. So she can actually make a little bit more. The ratios are higher for her to consider her low income to qualify for that property. So, but again, it's going to be based on every single person's individual situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I have a understanding of it, and it just depends on each individual situation and what they are willing to negotiate on, like location and things like that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, I would definitely be interested in a property that's for 55 plus. And yeah, I think that's what would be best for me. The other thing is, like, through the employers, like there's some companies that you work for that kind of support their employees being homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's the situation, those programs work a little bit different.
I guess I'd have to know what program and the details before I could answer any.
Okay, so part of the benefit package of working at PricewaterhouseCoopers, part of the benefit package is they will help you to get your degree, so you don't have to pay for going to college. You don't need a student loan. You don't need financing. You don't need any of that. Then the other thing about PricewaterhouseCoopers is that they work with different home builders. So like here is, I think it's Lennar Homes. I'm probably not saying it right, but they, yes, Lennar Homes, Perry Homes. They work with different people so that their employees can actually get a home, a new home, get a lot of the appliances and things that they want. They can pick that out for themselves, and they get it at a special rate because they work for PricewaterhouseCoopers. The same way with Catholics, people who are Catholic, the diocese will help them get a home, will help them get a car. It's Fords. Like you can just go to the dealership with a letter from the diocese and get a new Ford if you're Catholic and in good standing with the diocese. And then getting back to PricewaterhouseCoopers, they also will give you money when you get your house. They will give you money to be able to get furniture for your house.
Sounds like a pretty good deal.
It's a very good deal, and it's different company. You're not going to get that from Amazon. You're working at Amazon, Jeff isn't going to give you that. But a lot of the other companies that have been in business for a very long time and who actually look after their employees, even as far as the different churches. If you go to a missionary Baptist church, they're not going to help you get no mortgage. They're not going to help you get a car. They don't even help you get a job. You know, they're not going to give you no scholarship for university for your kids, nothing, you know. But other places do have these resources, and they take care of their people, and that's one way a lot of people become homeowners, and they drive a new car and all of this kind of stuff. But it's because of the community that they belong to and the employer that they work for. That's the reason why they have those benefits, and things are a lot less bleak, you know, for them because of that.
But even with the programs, like when they work with Lennar, there's still things that each individual is going to have to qualify for.
Yeah.
Meaning, like the employer's not going to say, hey, Lennar, give this person a home, you know, for this X price, but their credit's in the toilet and
No, it's because usually no, because Ryan, the thing is that when you work for PricewaterhouseCoopers, they give you a background check. They know all of those things when they hire you, and so it's
your credit can fluctuate from when a lot of employers do credit checks.
Yes.
And things like that. A ton of employers do.
Right.
But that doesn't mean if I've been working there for 10 years, they don't run my credit on an annual basis. The decisions I've made over the last 10 years when I worked for them, you know what I mean? A lender can't give you a loan if you know, there's federal guidelines because of the housing crisis or the crash of 2008, and the lending guidelines have changed significantly. There's a lot of laws to keep banks from giving bad loans. So there's still going to be minimum requirements that everyone is going to have to meet, regardless of those programs that they have.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. If you work for IBM, if you work for one of the big four accounting firms, you live your life a certain kind of a way anyway. So there's not a lot of people that work in those industries that are caught up in scandals and embezzling money and doing those type of things. It just doesn't happen because it's a certain group of people that even work for those kind of companies, and they care very much about their reputation, their credibility, and how they do things, not only in the office but in their personal lives.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, and so most lenders really work for them. I think at PricewaterhouseCoopers, they were using very many banks and credit unions that they worked with their human resources.
So if you're with that company, what I would do is I would talk to them about the Lennar program,
Mm-hmm.
because
I'm not with that company. I'm with the I do the American Housing Survey with the census, and I work with HUD. Yeah, the Housing and Urban Development. And so I talked to their regional director.
Like with that one, you need to use a Lennar's lender, because that's usually how you get those perks of the appliances and all of that. They have a preferred lender that they work with, right, for that program.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying there. But for you, if you're interested in talking to someone, I can talk to some lenders and try and get you connected with a lender that's familiar with buying in 55 plus communities, and then we can try and see, come up with a game plan for you personally.
Now that works. That will work for me, because I can tell you right now, where I live, I get a discount on rent, right? And I get a $300, $400 discount in rent, and my rent is still $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
This thing is worth $2,000, and I can put this apartment inside of my apartment that I had for $350 a month. I don't even have a walk-in closet here.
So here's just an example I just closed a home a few months ago, and this was in Parkland, but I'm just more want you to focus on the price point. For $310,000.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to get him. It is, but his mortgage payment was $1,600 something for $310,000. Mm-hmm. And this was a 1,200-1,300 square foot house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice house, very livable, good sized yard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But very comparable to what you're paying now for rent after your discount, right? I mean, it's a little higher, but so if you could find a home, say that's in a $55 and $55 and over community, let's say is $270, your mortgage or your mortgage payment is likely to be very close to what you pay now. You see what I'm saying? For a $270,000 house.
Yeah. I would want to pay less. I think that this is highway robbery. And I definitely for that kind of money, I expect that I have a chef, a driver, and a maid. Yeah, well. It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, unless you want to come down here to Florida.
I don't want to come to Florida because y'all crazy in Florida. But I do want to go over to. Well, I was thinking either Georgia or Texas. That's why even Alabama, for what you pay, what I pay here, and there's a lot of hubs for the housing and urban development, as well as like the state office, the State Department. So they have different hubs where headquarters is that they work out of. And so they they don't have a corporate office in Seattle. They do not, So it's just things like that I'm looking at. And especially, like I said, I working with the American Housing Survey, and I'm meeting all of the directors all over the country for HUD, and I'm seeing where they're headquartered at, where they work out of, and I'm noticing those states, and they are a lot more reasonable, and you do get a lot more property The taxes are lower, the cost of living is lower, the food and all of that seems to be of far better quality. And so those are the things that I'm looking at, definitely. So I have a call into the he is the head of HUD that's over this region, and he's based in Chicago even.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Chicago and he's over policy development and research for HUD. And so I'll be talking to him tomorrow. And like I said, personally for myself, I am looking for something that makes a lot more sense. But safety is a big thing for me because I am single and I do not anticipate ever being married. And so and so I'm trying to look at all of those things. And then meanwhile, the other ladies that I work with and stuff, they send me questions and it's things that they want to do because everybody's trying to plan out their lives to figure out, how can we make this thing work. And so I wanted to talk to you and kind of get some information. But yeah, Florida, you guys have a famous constable there. And I'm always seeing him. Oh yes, we caught this guy, and he had 40 pieces of child porn, and this guy had 157, and and I'm like, oh my god! And I look, it's in Polk County, and I actually Googled it to find out where is Polk County, and it's right by Kissimmee, and it's in the state of Florida. And I was like, okay, that's the place I don't need to go.
I just closed on a house in Polk County yesterday.
See, I hope they don't have no little kids.
They have a 13-year-old, but they
see.
love the area. They've been coming down for years.
Yeah.
There's crazy people everywhere you go.
There are crazy people. There are crazy people everywhere.
Florida has about 3 times as many people as Washington State, so
yeah,
or more than that. So you got to expect with more people, more crazy.
Right. And see, I want to go where there's more maple trees and stuff. whereas more trees than it is people.
I actually have a 1 o'clock that I'm supposed to get on today.
Okay.
So it's because I'm down here in Florida right now.
Okay.
So it's about to be 1. But would you like me to try and connect you with someone to talk to about, maybe running an application to see how this is about, or would you
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can't hurt, and all, getting more information, being more informed is just a way to make a better decision. So, yeah.
I think I'm gonna connect you with Mark Johnson. He's very thorough, and so I think I'm gonna give him a call, and I'll probably shoot him your number, and we'll go from there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Coletha. Enjoy your Sunday.
You too, and happy Thanksgiving to you this week.
You too.
Okay.
We'll talk then.
Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, so there you have it. Good morning.